Sorry, my bad. All right, now I'm recording. We're going to be using scales in order to be able to identify missing measurements. So like if we're given a visual, like maybe we're given some geometric shapes, or we're given a floor plan, and we're creating a to scaled copy or a scaled version of it. A lot of times when we're doing anything that's building architectures, they use blueprints as little scale models of what they're going to actually create on the bigger end. So using that information, we're finding pieces that are missing. You're also going to be using it with word problems, which is what we'll be focusing on today with our IXL. So this shouldn't go too long. It shouldn't take too long. If you'll notice the packet that I gave to you guys for your DLD is a lot of the same thing. It's solving these proportions. So remember when we're solving proportions, we multiply, and then divide, right? So that's what we're going to be doing here with our scaled copies. What you're doing is you're taking the scaled information that you know and setting it equal to the information that you're trying to find. So in this situation, the information that I know that 2 inches is going to represent 3 feet. I know 2 inches is going to represent 3 feet. So when I'm setting that up, I'm going to set this up as 2 inches on the top, and I'm going to put 5 feet on the bottom. And then I want to create another ratio in order to be able to make my proportion so that I can solve. So here, for this missing measurement, is this missing measurement going to go on the top or on the bottom? So looking here, this is what's missing. Is it going to go on the top or the bottom? Why would it go on the top? It's blank feet. Where should feet go? The bottom. Feet, remember guys, when you're setting it up, you should set it up to where they are corresponding. If you've got feet on the bottom, you're going to continue having feet on the bottom. If you've got inches on top, you're going to continue with inches on top. Okay, so we've got an unknown value of feet. So when we don't know something, we're going to put X. So we have X feet. And then here with our little model, we have 8.5 inches. So we're going to put 8.5 inches on the top. Then we can go about doing our cross product. So remember, we multiply our diagonals. So the first thing we're going to multiply is 2 times the X. And 2 times X is going to give us 2X. Then we're going to multiply 5 times 8.5, and that's going to give us 42.5. And then from there, we can go ahead and divide. So we can take 42.5 and divide it by the 2, because we're dividing by 2 on both sides. And we would get that X is equal to 21.25, and that is feet. Okay? So utilizing what we know about setting up proportions and solving, and utilizing those scale drawings or scale factors, we can go ahead and solve for anything missing. I want you guys to go ahead and do problem number 2 and number 3 on your own. All right, so for problem number 2, who can tell me what they got for the value of X? Camille? 10. Very good. Okay, so if we're taking a look here, I know that the 5 centimeters on this side of my triangle is going to correspond with the X centimeters on my larger enlarged triangle. So I can set it up as 5 centimeters here and X centimeters here. Okay, then we can set them equal. This 4 centimeters is going to correspond with this 8 centimeters, so we can do 4 centimeters and 8 centimeters. So we now have 5 centimeters over 4 centimeters equals X centimeters over 8 centimeters, and then we can go ahead and do the cross product. So we can multiply 4 times the X, and that's going to give us 4X. We can also multiply the 5 times the 8, and that's going to give us 40. And then at the very end, we should divide both sides by the 4, and we would get X is equal to 10. So we'd have 10 centimeters. Okay? What about for problem 3? Who can tell me what the missing value for 3 is? Vincent. 20. Very good. Okay, so again, we have the 5 corresponds with the missing value. This 8 is going to correspond with the 32. So when we're setting this up, we can set it up as 5 over the 8. And that's going to be equal to x over 32. Okay, we would then do our cross product. We would multiply the 8 times the x to get 8x. We would then multiply 5 times 32 to get 160. And then we would just divide both sides by 8. And we would get x is equal to 20. Okay, yes. Yeah, but remember we have to have an idea of how to set things up like proportions, because sometimes they might ask you, instead of asking what is the value, they might, and I've seen it multiple times where they say what's the correct proportion to relate to this problem. So you need to know how to set up your proportions as well. Okay? All right, so now let's take a look here. Valeria drew a scale drawing of a farm. The goat pen, which is 20 meters long in real life, is 5 millimeters long in the drawing. So we want to know what is the scale of the drawing going to be. So we are given the real life dimensions. We want to know what the scale dimensions are going to be in this case. So for here, I can set this up that I've got 20 meters is going to be represented as 5 millimeters on the scale. So we want to know how many meters is 1 millimeter going to be for the scale. Okay, so when we set this up, I can do 20 over 5 equals x over 1. Okay, so these are my meters, these are my millimeters. Okay, then we can just do the cross product to solve. So we're going to have 5x is now equal to 20. When we multiply those, we get 20. And then at the very end, we would just divide both sides by the 5. And we would get x is equal to 4 meters. Okay, go ahead and do number 5 on your own. All right, we're going to go over it real quick. So we have here, we've got a scale drawing of a boarding school. The scale drawing is showing that 1 millimeter on the drawing is going to stand for 3 meters in real life. So we want to know if the real building happens to be 150 meters, so that's going to go on the bottom, then we want to know how long is the actual drawing going to be. So that's going to be the x millimeters. Oops. So then we can go ahead and do the cross product. We can multiply 3 times the x to get 3x. We can multiply 1 times 150. That's going to give us 150. And then we can divide both sides by 3. And you should have gotten that x is going to be 50, and that is millimeters. Don't forget to put your units of measure. And you need to make sure you put the correct unit of measure. All right, go ahead and flip it on over to the back. So on the back here it says Jada wants to scale the polygon so that the side that corresponds to 15 units in the original is going to become 5 units in the scaled copy. So we're going to complete this drawing. So 15 units happens to be represented right here. So that means that on the scaled copy, that's going to become 5. So this measurement right here is going to become 5. We want to know what are the rest of these measurements going to be. So we could set up a proportion, or because this is an easy way of looking and saying, okay, we're going from 15 to 5, what are we scaling it down by? A third, right? We're taking a third of the measurement. We're scaling it down by, 1/3, or multiplying every measurement by 1/3. So we can take each of these measurements and multiply them all by 1/3. If we do 1/3 by the 18, what is that going to become? 18 times 1/3, or 18 divided by 3, 6, right? We can do the same thing here. 36. Take a third of the 36. What is 36 going to become? A 12. Okay. What about 30? What will 30 become? 10. Okay. What's the 21 going to become? 7. And then lastly, and I don't have a different color, so I'm going to have to go with purple. With red. The 12 is going to become what? If we multiply 12 times 1/3, it becomes 4. Okay? So there's all of our new dimensions. We're actually going to skip number 7. We'll probably come back to it on Monday because I really want to give you guys ample time to be able to work on your IXLs. If you load yourself into Google Classroom, the 2 IXL skills have been posted there. You need to get to a 70 in order to receive full credit. Get to up to an 80 for the extra credit. If you get it done before class time is over, then you'll get additional pride points.